Same. I would just like to say that I maintain my innocence.
That was Charlie Adelson. That was what he said to the judge. Charlie Adelson was convicted for the murder for hire plot of Dan Markel, his former brother-in-law, who was dating his sister, Wendy Adelson. Wendy and Dan Markel were in a very contentious divorce battle where she wanted to relocate to Miami to be closer to her family. The judge denied that. And then a year afterwards, Dan Markel was found murdered. The motive for it? Well, to have Wendy and her two sons to live closer to the rest of the Adelson family. Charlie was found guilty a couple weeks ago. We're at the sentencing now where we're going to see if the judge is going to give him the max, which is life with no parole. We're going to listen to a victim impact statement by Phil Markel, who is going to represent the Markel family. And Dan Markel's parents, well, they're in their 80s. They're healthy, yes, but can you imagine the toll this must have taken on them? They're in their 80s. They've said that they barely seen their grandsons, especially in the past 6 years. Not only did the Adelsons, Wendy in particular, change the last names of her two sons, Dan Markel's sons, from Markel to Adelson, she also has restricted access for the grandparents to see them. I just feel so bad for them because imagine having your son being murdered and you can't even get in contact. You can't even develop a good relationship with his two sons. After the victim impact statement, we're going to go to what Charlie has to say about this, and the judge will give his sentencing. It's a very short day today. I was super tired this morning and my words were just all over the place. So there's gonna be a lot of mishaps and misspeaks, but yeah, I'm sorry about that. Just bear with me, please. I do feel so bad for Dan's parents. Having to be dragged through this for like 10 years plus.
I was about to ask that question.
All right, Judge, I think we're ready.
All right. Good morning. At this time, we are going to start with the victim impact statements. Mr. Markel, I understand you are going to provide it today on behalf of the family.
Yes, thank you.
You may speak when you're ready. Take all the time you need.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Phil Markel. I am Dan Markel's father. Dan, my only son, was born October 9, 1972, in Montreal, Quebec. During that time in Quebec, husbands were not allowed to actually be in the delivery room during a child's birth. However, since the obstetrician was a very close friend of ours, I was allowed to experience the most amazing of moments, the birth of my son. I will never forget the emergence of his head, and then those shoulders of an NFL football fullback, a boy of 10 pounds. There I was, holding in my arms this gift of life, my bundle of absolute sheer joy. From the time he was a child, my son had tremendous energy, intelligence, and great warmth. Dan had a vibrant, fun-loving personality and lived life to its fullest. Danny loved to socialize, dance, cook, entertain, and play sports, and dedicated himself wholeheartedly to everything that he did. He always looked to do his utmost to improve and achieve better results in every activity that he did. This desire of improvement and commitment to excellence was a defining characteristic of his short life. I fondly remember taking Danny skiing up the hills in the Laurentian Mountains in Quebec when he was just 2 years old. He rode up the mountain between my legs, holding on to the T-bar, and then coming down the ski hill yelling with great joy, "Faster, Dad, faster!" Then, as he grew a little older, he played hockey at the local park. To improve his skating skills, he requested to take a speed skating lesson with a local coach who was from Russia, and he had a reputation of being a very tough coach. Dan persevered, and after every hockey lesson, he came off the ice with a red face, totally out of breath, because he always gave it his all. At about the age of 13, Danny developed the idea that he was going to Harvard University for his college education. He discovered that the acceptance requirements for Harvard were not only good grades, but also work for the community and charitable work. To achieve these goals, he revived his high school newspaper. He became the newspaper's editor, the business manager, and performed charitable deeds and volunteered in the community. After years of hard work and determination, Dan was accepted to Harvard. He graduated from Harvard magna cum laude, went on to study at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem for 1 year, and then earned a master's in philosophy and political theory from Emmanuel College at the University of Cambridge in England. He returned thereafter to Harvard Law School to earn his law degree, and went on to become an extremely successful lawyer, influential legal scholar. Dan served as a law clerk for a federal judge, worked as an associate at a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C., and then secured a prestigious teaching position at FSU College of Law. In a few short years, Dan became a full tenured law professor before the tender age of 41, quite unusual. Dan co-authored a book and published many articles in highly regarded law journals and newspapers like the New York Times. Dan's work was influential, and he gave lectures and presented at universities around the world. Although Dan was fond of his Canadian roots, he was very dedicated to the FSU Law School and the Tallahassee community. He was recognized as a scholar who contributed and made a difference in the world. While Dan's career was important to him, family meant everything to Dan. Dan's marriage produced 2 boys, Benjamin.
So I guess on here it's a little bit. Sorry, I turned off my camera because I'm just eating right now. Or actually, I don't know. Is it the same feed?
Lincoln, who were his absolute world and beloved things to him. Dan made sure that.
Okay, I'll just have both up just in case then.
Benjamin and Lincoln were his pride and joy, and meant absolutely everything to him. Dan made sure that he and the boys came to Montreal and Toronto to attend every family affair and visit with all the extended Markel family, including grandparents, uncles, aunts, and many numerous cousins. Despite the distance, Dan felt that the boys had to know and be a part. He also made sure that he and the boys participated in the Tallahassee community. They were involved in the local synagogue in Maplewood. Dan left home at the young age of 17 to go to Harvard, but he always came home for summer vacation, holidays, and all family functions. Danny and I, despite the fact that we lived quite far apart, regularly communicated by text, email, and phone calls. Despite the physical distance, as time moved on, we grew ever so much closer. At Dan's suggestion, we would plan to talk and have a meal together. At the appointed day and time, we each would prepare our meals, set our tables with a tablet in the middle, and over Skype, we would sit together and enjoy each other's company for a couple of hours despite the actual distance. Dan's life was abruptly cut short, and he was forever taken from me, his boys, and the rest of our family, and all his many friends and colleagues. My life has been in total disarray since Dan's murder.
Yeah, it's a pretty complicated case.
I wake up in the middle of the night in a terrible sweat with thoughts of Dan's murder and all that has happened. There is not a single day in my life since Danny's death that in one way or another he does not enter into my thoughts. And I miss him with all my heart. I'm constantly reminded of Dan's murder and his absence. When I meet new people, the topic of discussion always comes up when they ask whether I have children. How do I respond? It is difficult to put into words the heinous acts that took Danny away from us, the unthinkable pains that I must live with every single day. Losing a son or a daughter is something I wish nobody should have to experience. It's not in the order of nature. Danny continue to hope and pray for justice and the return to normalcy of seeing and playing a vital role in the lives of our two grandsons, Ben and Lincoln. It has been a number of years since I last wrote a victim impact statement, sharing how Danny's death has affected me. Despite our persistent efforts, we still do not have a real relationship with Danny's sons, Ben and Lincoln. Visits are limited and very controlled. For 6 years, we were denied any and all visits with the boys. In the last 2 years, I've been permitted 2 60 to 90-minute visits.
I feel so bad for them.
This thing, I feel like
So I just want to interrupt really quick. So what he's talking about right now is access to the grandchildren. So Dan Markel was married to Wendy. Dan Markel was murdered. Wendy, this is her brother right here. Wendy's brother, Wendy's mom, in on it. They hired 2 hitmen. There was another woman that was involved who was his ex-girlfriend. And essentially the grandparents are saying like, hey, like this murder happened like 10 years ago. And we've been having like really limited access to the grandchildren, especially within the past 6 years. It's restricted because, you know, I believe they also live in Canada as well. So they try to like come and make their visits to meet with Wendy and the 2 sons. But it seems like, you know, they don't really get a chance to like see them. And this is like, you know, just imagine having your son being murdered and the next of kin, which is his 2 children. Like, you know, you would want to spend as much time as you can with them, right?
not only have I lost my son, but I have effectively lost 2 of my grandkids as well. Even their family names have been changed from Markel to Adelson.
Yeah.
While we work hard to help introduce a new bill in the state of Florida known as the Markel Act, which gives grandparents important rights, unfortunately, our relationship with Ben and Lincoln has not been material and true. As this bill was coming to fruition, there was a lot of negative publicity in the press and media about Danny's ex-wife, Wendy. In my opinion, Wendy was focused on improving her public image, and as a result, extended an invitation to us to Ben's bar mitzvah. Ruth and I were invited to attend only the ceremonial part of this important stage in a Jewish boy's life. And we were not invited to participate in any reception typical of this celebration. But this invitation opened the door to one of the limited visits described above. In order not overwhelm Ben and Lincoln on this important day, we asked to arrange a meeting before the bar in order to make things easier on the boys, who we hadn't been allowed to visit in years. We were able to arrange a brief 90-minute supervised visit to Ben and Lincoln, and this will be a few weeks before the bar mitzvah. However, immediately after our brief visit, Charlie was arrested, and Wendy rescinded our invitation to the bar mitzvah. At the time, she said that they were going to either postpone or completely cancel this bar mitzvah ceremony. Neither of those happened. Excuse me.
Take your time, sir.
Instead, my understanding is that the Adelsons went on to have the bar mitzvah ceremony and party, all without the Markel family's presence or participation. Missing out on this important moment in Ben's life was incredibly painful. After so many years without Danny, we had hoped to make progress in forging a consistent relationship with his sons, but this still has many challenges. This is the year that Lincoln turns 13, the age of bar mitzvah. As yet, we have not been informed of bar mitzvah, nor if we will be invited always participate in this very important time of Lincoln's life. I have very little hope that we will be allowed to participate in this important life cycle event. Dan's murder brought his life abruptly to an end for no sensible reason and has affected a countless number of people. The legal community is deprived of Dan's wisdom and ideas, which made the world a better place. Dan's students are deprived of the experience of having Dan as a brilliant professor and caring mentor, showing them a path. Dan's colleagues can no longer benefit from Dan's friendship, insights, and scholarly discussions and debates. Ruth and I have been deprived of our son, who has been taken away from us so suddenly. Ben and Lincoln must go through life without their father, who loved them with all his being. The boys have been deprived of their father's entire family after Dan's murder. We have no idea of what these two boys know or have been told about Danny's death. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that they have from the ages of 3 and 4 years of age to the present day. I also have no idea what the boys know of us, the entire Markel family, our history, etc.
So he's saying that, like, he doesn't know what the boys, the two sons know about their father's death. I mean, like, it happened when they were 3 and 4 years old, but they're older now, probably like 13, 14-ish. So it's really hard now for them to probably stay off of social media and like friends and stuff like that. So I'm sure they've definitely heard some rumblings about Adelsons and then probably wondering, where's Charlie? Where's Uncle Charlie at? I haven't seen him in a bit, Where's grandmother Donna? I haven't seen her in a bit either. So I'm sure they probably have some inklings now, but I really do feel so bad for him because he's saying that, like, he doesn't know what the boys know. And as far as, like, the boys' familiarity with, like, Dan Markel's, like, side of the family, they don't really know much either. Like, don't really have any, contact with the family members or anything like that. Yeah, it's just super sad.
Etc. And especially how much we all love them and how we wish they were active part of our family. Both Ruth and I are approaching 80 years of age.
Oh.
At this moment, we are healthy, but one does not know what tomorrow brings. The wheels of justice turn very, very slowly, but so far we're very grateful that they're still turning. We're very grateful to Tallahassee law enforcement, to the state attorney and all their staff, to all our relatives and friends, including the hundreds of Danny's friends and colleagues around the world for their constant support over these long 10 years. To all the podcasters who work hard to keep alive this unbelievable story. We are still waiting for Benjamin Lincoln to have a more normal relationship with the Markel family as we wait in pain and anguish. The Adelson family, in particular Charlie Adelson, has been a major cause of our heartbreak and the murder of our son Danny and the loss of our 2 grandsons. I have suffered tremendously.
I wonder why Charlie was shaking his head there. Hi, Katrina. I don't know, man. I'm sensing a performance right here. I think, like, of course, he's not as smug anymore because he's already had a conviction. But I think it's important for him to show that there's, like, contrition, because the judge is going to be doing the sentencing later. So Charlie has to look like he actually feels bad and maybe, like, feel sorry and, take this entire thing seriously. But him shaking his head like that, I'm just like, Oh, Katrina, thank you so much for gifting memberships. Guys, welcome. Please give a huge thank you to Katrina. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
And we as a family continue to suffer. It is satisfying to see justice being done. And it would be appropriate to ask for the maximum sentence for the perpetrators of Danny's murder. Thank you. Today is a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Markel. Was there anything else that you wish to say as a part of your victim impact?
No, sir.
Ms. Kappelman?
You're asking me. received those and had an opportunity to review them?
I did. I was able to review the letters. They were also a part of the pre-sentence investigation packet, which will be filed in the court file as well.
Yes, sir. Nothing further regarding victim impact.
What is the state's argument with regard to sentence, at least as it concerns counts 2 and 3?
In regards to counts 2 and 3, Your Honor, we are seeking the maximum sentence. We're asking for consecutive 30-year sentences on both of those. I have prepared a score sheet in reference to those. May I approach?
You may. Have you already showed the score sheet to Mr. Rushbaugh?
I think so, but I'll...
Hi, Georgia. It's Georgia Kaplan. What was her name again? I thought she kind of looked like Gwyneth Paltrow. Happy Cake Day.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The only other matter, Your Honor, is that in reference to costs of prosecution, we've been attempting to gather up some of the necessary financial paperwork from the FBI and TPD and my office as well to see if we can come to an agreement with the defense on what costs of prosecution should be ordered in this case. We have not been able to do that yet, so I would ask for Your Honor to reserve that issue for 90 days. It's possible, as I said, we can reach an agreement on it, but if not, I would ask for a hearing sometime around 90 days to make a determination about costs of prosecution.
Argument to make on behalf of your client as to counts 2 or 3.
Judge, we understand the situation. We just ask that those counts be run concurrently.
Very well. Mr. Adelson, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make a statement if you wish. You do not have to speak. However, this is your opportunity if you choose to do so.
Do it. Yeah, we know you
You
are.
may stand.
Same. I would just like to say that I maintain my innocence.
No way. Seriously?
Well,
That's all you had to say?
please rise. I am now going to pronounce the sentence.
That's all he had to
With the
say.
jury having found you guilty of all 3 counts that you were charged with in your indictment of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder, I am going to adjudicate you guilty of all 3 at this time, and you are going to be sentenced as follows. As to count 1, the first-degree murder count pursuant to section 782.04 and 775.082 Florida statutes, you are sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of release or parole. As to count 2, you are going to be sentenced consecutively to 30 years in the Department of Corrections for conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. As to count 3, you are going to be sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections consecutively for solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The credit for time served that applies in this matter is how much?
597.
597 days will be applied as credit for time served in this case. If the clerk could please read all fees and costs that would apply as well.
$2,100 as a fine pursuant to Florida Statute 775.083, $105 as a 5% surcharge required by Florida Statute 938.04, $20 as a court cost pursuant to Florida Statute 9.
That's why he was shaking his head when Dan Markel was speaking. Sorry, I meant to say Dan Markel's father here. I misspoke. And I want to rewind back to that because I was like, why was he shaking his head? He was shaking his head because he was saying, I'm not the cause of your guys' anguish. It's not me. It's not my fault.
The Adelson family, in particular Charlie Adelson, has been a major cause of our heartbreak and the murder of our son Danny and the loss of our 2 grandsons.
Ms. Kappelman, I will reserve 90 days of jurisdiction to address the cost of prosecution in this case. By statute, the state is entitled to the 100, but this is in excess of the 100 is what you're referring to.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. 30 days to appeal both your conviction and now your sentence. Mr. Adelson, you are going to be fingerprinted today, and from here you are going to be sent to the Department of Corrections to begin serving your sentence. Mr. Rauschbaum, if you please can timely file the notice of appeal so that way there is no issues regarding any review of the conviction itself. Does either party have anything further to raise to the court before we finish for today?
Nothing from the state.
No, Your Honor.
We are in recess.
Good job,
Mr. and
Georgia
Mrs.
Kaplan.
Markell, have a good day. Thank you for being available so you can provide your victim impact statements. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cheyenne, you can take this. This is the pre-sentence investigation information.
Anyone else in chat thought he was going to say more than that?
2 count 1.
That was such a lazy speech. I think he was better off just not saying anything, honestly. Queen, thank you so much for the 10. Sending a super sticker to express the appreciation for the laugh entertainment you bring to us. Thanks, Corgi. Oh my gosh, Queen, thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the little sticker. Typical narcissist. This Katrina. We gotta go to Donna after this. Yeah, actually, I've never seen them do Prince right there. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for the Prime on Twitch. How are you? Hello, hello. How's it going? Hey, every court does it differently, okay? All right, that's it. That's all we got. Very short sentencing. Thank you, Taxi. How are you? Good morning. So that was very short. That was very short. I don't know. I thought he was gonna say more than that. Instead of just going up there and saying, what did his stupid head say when he went up there? I maintain my innocence. Where are we at here? When did he start speaking?
I would just like to say that I maintain my innocence.
Well,
The judge did not buy it.
I'm now going to pronounce.
The judge's like, okay, all right. Like, I mean, honestly, though, if like any of us are up there and we were framed for a crime or we were wrongly convicted, y'all would be bawling your eyes up. They'd be like, I didn't do this. I swear I didn't do this. I wasn't involved in any of this. I loved my brother-in-law. You know, we may not have the best of relationships, but he was there for, he's like the son of my nieces. You know, like, I don't just like say stuff like that. No, not nieces, nephews. Nephews is boys, right? Yeah, nephews. I don't know. Just go up there and just like, it would just be so different. You wouldn't just be like, oh, I maintain my innocence. It would just be like, I didn't do this. Like, I can't believe I'm going away for something that I didn't do. You know, it was all Katie's doing. Because his whole defense was that he had nothing to do with this. He complained to the wrong person, which was his ex-girlfriend, Katie, and she decided to take matters in his own hands by hiring the father of her children and like his best friend, the father of their children and the best friend. And they murdered Dan Markell just so they can pin it on Charlie and blackmail him and say, hey, you were the one that hired us, so we're going to blackmail you. And then Georgia Kaplan, I believe when she was doing the cross-examination, or was it direct examination? I don't remember when Charlie testified because I haven't seen that yet. I've only seen bits and pieces. But she went up there and asked him, have you ever heard of, sometimes the simplest explanation is the explanation, or something like that. And then he was like, well, you know, and she's like, you know, like, why would they go through all of that when they could have just went to you directly? You know, like they essentially, if they knew he had money, they could have just fucking robbed him. Why commit murder and then try to blackmail him and pin it on him if they just wanted to get money at the end of the day? Why not just go to the source of the person who has money and just steal from them directly? So that was his defense there. And, you know, that didn't work. Also, so just to recap a little bit. So, he's got, let's see, for guilty for all 3 counts. Count 1, murder first degree, life with no possibility of parole. Count 2 was 30 years, conspiracy to commit first degree murder. And then count 3 was solicitation to commit first degree murder. 30 years as well, sort of consecutively. But I mean, he's already got life with no possibility of parole. And also the judge right there, I don't know if y'all noticed, but that's the same judge that was presiding in Donald Adelson's arraignment as well. We are going to watch it afterwards.